Good evening, everyone. My name is Gunnar Soros. This is Bike Chat. Unfortunately, tonight, Jonah Di Pasquale, the usual host, is not able to make it, but I will try my best to pinch hit for him. On my left or right, or I can never tell which actual side box the other person is in, but we have Joy Gouge. Is that correct? Joy Gouge? Is that how you pronounce your last name?
It's actually pronounced Gouge, but
Gouge.
everybody pronounces it Gouge, so I'm
Okay.
kind of
Well,
used to
I'll
that.
say it correct. Gouge. Nice.
Yeah.
Joy Gouge. Pleasure having you on tonight. I don't really have anything specifically planned as far as topic or questions or time frame of how to run the show tonight, but we'll just see how it goes tonight and see what's going on. I did want to touch base upon, I don't know, do you keep track of the Tour de France at all?
Occasionally, not always.
Okay, so it's going on right now, and spoiler alert to anyone out there that hasn't seen today's stage. It was a very big things happening. Just again, so I did that spoiler alert. So I'll get into it a little bit. So we have the race leader Chris Froome. He was leading, I think, was it just under a minute over his other rivals. They go into today's stage, which was supposed to be a really big deal. It's the climb up Mount Ventoux, which is one of the largest mountains that they have. I don't think it's the largest, but they did actually cut the stage short by, I think, 6 kilometers because of high winds. So they knew that it was going to be dangerous. They cut the stage short. The racers are racing up, and there's leaders on the road that are going for the stage win, and then you have the general contenders that are going for the overall win of the whole Tour de France, and they're battling it out in the back, and they get to a point, and the crowds are, I mean, if you've seen some of the mountaintop stages, the crowds, I mean, they literally are so close to the riders, and the riders usually have like a small tunnel of people to ride through. Well, on today's stage, there's a motorcycle that's going right in front with a camera, and so that usually that kind of breaks a path apart for the riders to ride up. What happens is that the crowd was so thick that the motorcycle had nowhere to go and had to stop very suddenly, and the 3 riders, Chris Froome, Bauke Mollema, and Richie Porte, were following behind this motorcycle, and Richie Porte came up, ran right into the motorcycle, then Chris Froome, then Bauke Mollema. They were on the attack. They were actually making a move against the rest of the field. It totally demolished that attack, and then also people went up the road. Chris Froome's bike broke, and he actually ended up running up the road a bit before he could get a replacement bike. He got a bike from Neutral Support. He couldn't ride that very far. Finally, his team car comes up, gives him a bike. He finishes the stage. Talk about drama. It was like all over the place, and what's going to happen is Chris going to lose time because of this accident that was not his fault, was not his rival's fault, wasn't even the motorcycle rider's fault in front of him, which that's a whole nother can of worms, because there's a whole controversy of there's too many motos in the road with the racers, and they're getting in the way and they're causing accidents. But in this case, it was all the fans being too close and causing something. So in the end, they neutralized some of the riders' times at that point of the accident. Jonathan, he's allowed to advance on the course without, well, and that was another thing, is that specifically the rules say he can't advance on the course without a bike. So what he did do was technically illegal. Now, the thing is, he didn't get any gains from it. If the regulators didn't intervene, he would have actually lost, I think it was about 1.5 minutes to his rivals. So in the end, they neutralized at the point of impact for him and a number of other riders. And so he still keeps the lead, but I mean, it's a huge controversy, and I'm sure it'll be talked about for a long time about one, fans getting too close to riders and being in the way of the race, as well as motos being too close and too many motos out there, as well as what Jonathan was just talking about. Small little infractions of rules like that. Should that be allowed? Should it not be allowed? All that type of stuff. To me, it's like, okay, well, the guy didn't actually make any gains by running up the course without a bike. It's not like he jumped into a car, rode up, 5 miles, and then ended up, winning the stage. It wasn't anything like that. And so I don't think he necessarily meant to break the rules, and he didn't get any benefit from it. And so I think they're able to look past that. And if they were to give some sort of penalty for that, then they should actually be a lot more strict on other things that go on in races like this, where riders go up to mechanics in their cars and get kind of a free ride or a push up from cars because they just claim that they have a little, they call it, what is it, the magic spanner, the magic wrench, or a sticky bottle. They'll hold on to a bottle just that extra long time to get kind of pushed up the road, which generally is sort of allowed. It has to be kind of a blatant disregard for the rules that they get called on it. And most of the time they don't get called on it because it's like, oh, you get a little push. It's not, you're not actually winning the race because of that extra little push. You're just getting usually back into the field. Right. So I'm sure that this will be talked about for actually probably for weeks and maybe even years to come about the time. I mean, if we look back on the Lance Armstrong years, there was a case where he cut the course and went through a field, which technically is against the rules, but nobody called any foul on that because he didn't make any time. He didn't make any gains by doing that. It was just somebody crashed right in front of him. He was able to go through the field to avoid the crash, and he actually didn't end up gaining any time on anyone. It was just one of those things that you end up having to do. So just thought I'd bring that up. If anyone wants to talk about that, that's great. But who just popped on? Wild Glean Growler Bikes is back on. Nice to see you on here. Okay, Joy, let's talk about you and what you have going on. I know that that you're an advocate for the blind.
Yes.
Awesome. Tell me about that. What is going on with that, and what do you do? And are you blind?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I do have some limited vision, but out of my right eye, I'm almost completely blind. I just have light perception.
Okay. Out of your right eye, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're also a cyclist. Does that how does that affect or what challenges are there being a cyclist that is also blind in one eye?
Well, I'm not so much a cyclist anymore. I used to be definitely more involved in cycling. But since some injuries happened and, loss of more of my vision, it's definitely put a hold on a lot of my activities. Okay. But I'm hoping to get involved. I've just found out that there is a cycling club in my city. So I'm actually hoping to get more involved with that and possibly do some more rides and try to, get back involved with that. And because it is challenging to find someone who is actually, if I do a tandem bike, it's very difficult right now to find someone who is willing to be a pilot, because even with my cousin who is sorry, and I've got my notifications on, and for some reason it's my notifications are coming up. I'm hoping you guys are not able to see that. No. But my cousin is he's an avid cyclist. He actually goes all around the world and cycles. He actually just got back from Ireland, and wow. they took a tour around the northern coast this year. But he is even as advanced in cycling as he is still not comfortable with being a pilot. So what I'm going to have to do is find possibly some, I want to go down the Creeper Trail. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. That's in Damascus, Virginia. And it's like a 17-mile downhill.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a easy, ride for, from beginner to, to whatever. And so I want to try that now, and hopefully that I will be able to do that. Just, and just have an company, with a rider. So, but,
Right.
just ride my own bike. So I'm hoping I
Wow.
can be able to do that very soon.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, that would be great. Jonathan's asking, do you have vision in your left eye?
I do have some vision in my left eye, but it's actually a little bit better than the right eye, but it's still very limited.
Very limited.
It's very limited. Yes.
Okay. And you said that there's problems finding people that are willing to pilot. Is it that they're afraid to pilot for someone that has limited vision, or to me, I would think, well, if I had a tandem, I would kind of think, okay, well, it would make sense if I had a friend or knew somebody that was visually challenged, or I mean, even somebody that was challenged in other ways, to be a pilot for them, so that they can enjoy cycling along with me. And so I guess I don't, maybe you can clue me in on as to why it is a difficulty in finding people willing to pilot for you.
I think a little bit of it goes along with the lack of experience, the lack of knowledge about blind people in general, because so many people have the perception of, oh, they're blind, they're not going to be able to do this or to cycle or to enjoy sports, or most people think that blind people just sit at home and do nothing. And that is not the case. Right. There's a lot of blind people who are very active. There's people who run marathons, who do triathlons. So, I mean, that's just the point of finding a good guide.
Right.
Because generally, and for someone like me, I've just recently in the last several months got into disc golf. And, it's just the point of having a good guide to say, okay, this is the basket. It's 180 feet up, right. And it's just the point of having a good guide. Right. But I think a lot of times it's just the lack of experience dealing with blind people that people are a little hesitant about, getting involved. And that's right. What I'm trying to change, especially in my area, because even when I'm around people who are not used to seeing blind people, they become intimidated, or I don't want to say intimidated, but I guess just standoffish, if you will. And when they discover, oh, she has a white cane, because I have experienced somebody talking to me and then they happen to look down and notice my cane and then start talking to the person next to me saying, oh, is she blind? Well, I'm the same person you were talking to 30 seconds ago, so, I'm still that same person.
Right.
So, yeah.
I sorry for laughing, but I mean, it seems so odd to me that they'll be talking to you and then all of a sudden turn to another person and like almost put you out of the conversation as if you're an object or something, as if something happened immediately that all of a sudden you couldn't hear and you don't know what's going on. It kind of blows my mind that people are that way, but I guess we've seen it in other things, so I guess I can kind of understand it. So you say that are you currently involved with that cycling club, or is that just something that you're planning to do, or are you finding any luck in talking to them about getting a potential pilot?
Well, in my area right now, as far as I know, in all the research I have checked into the bike stores, because right now I don't want to invest in a tandem bike unless I can find a good pilot who is willing to invest some time with me,
Right.
to do that. But right now that there is not a bike store in my area that has a tandem bike that I can even rent.
Wow. Right.
Yes. So that's one of the major problems that I'm having trouble with, because before I didn't have to have a tandem bike. I would just ride with either with someone, riding beside of me and saying, hey, we need to turn here.
Right.
So, that was, and when I was able to ride more, I actually had, my vision was a little bit better than what it is now.
Okay.
So I'm definitely going to need a better guide.
Right. And so I guess tell me a little bit about how that works. So when you're not on a tandem, you're riding solo on a bike. Would you call that a guide? Is that what you called them? A guide?
A
That was the
guide.
person next to you? Okay. And they would have to tell you about everything and where you're turning and if there's obstacles and that type of thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I assume that there's benefits to both styles, right? To riding a tandem, there's less for you to have to see but then on a solo bike, you have to rely a lot more on those audible cues, which sometimes, I don't have a large amount of tandem experience, but the small amount of tandem experience that I have had, if you forget to call out a pothole to the person you're riding with, they get it. And so I can just imagine that if I'm riding with someone who can't see very well and I have to try to tell them about things in the road, if I miss something, I would feel a lot of guilt. If if I ran into a rock or hit a pothole, it would be kind of difficult. But is that are there differences or benefits to one versus the other for someone who's visually impaired?
I think it just depends on the person and their style and the comfort level that they have. Because if you're more comfortable with just riding solo and having someone else, call out, oh, there's a pothole, we need to stop. There's a car coming, whatever.
Right.
So I think it's just the level of comfort that the individual person has. So, if you have more, your comfort level is you prefer solo, go for it. Because there are people, there's a guy in California right now who actually, and he has a group of, I think, 3 friends who are totally blind, and they go mountain biking.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and they do like the click, it's click training. It's just like a little click that they do. But just like, I'm sure like every mountain bicyclist, they experience crashes too.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but everybody does.
Right.
I have. So it's just the point of getting out and enjoying nature, and just enjoying the exercise aspect of it.
Right. Right. Jonathan Perez just asked a question on the chat. He said, is there an organization that has a database of riders willing to guide / pilot? Is there anything like that you know of?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. And especially not in my area. Because to my knowledge, I am actually the only one who is visually impaired and is willing to even try cycling.
Right.
So, because there's several people in my area who, I'm actually the president of the Northeast Tennessee chapter of National Federation of the Blind. So we, get a lot of new clients who are losing their sight for the first time, and they have this insecurity of not knowing where to go, what to do, and thinking their life is over just because they're losing their eyesight. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. You can still get out and enjoy life and live a very fulfilling life. Just because you're losing your sight doesn't mean you have to sit at home all the time.
Right. So let's see here. Jonathan Perez says, I think Katie Compton was a pilot in the past. Wow, that would be that. That would be an awesome pilot. So Katie Compton is one of the one of the world's top cyclocross racers. And yeah, if she was a pilot, that would be a fast rider to have as your pilot. That would make for some fast riding. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I know I would not be able to keep up with that.
No, I think it's great what you're saying about that the perception of both of people that are losing their sight and that not knowing what to do and thinking, well, my life is over. What do? I just have to sit around. And also the perception of people that don't know blind people. I think that hopefully having more people out doing things will help to kind of change that perception on both sides. Is that kind of what one of your goals is, or are you just living life to live life? I mean, it's probably most of it, right? Is just lead by example, I guess.
A little bit of both, because I know it seems after I've turned 40, I've become more adventurous. Now, granted, I'm going into my late 40s now, but it's just seemed like, I don't know, I just started to want to live life fuller and not just sit at home. I'd actually, in my late 30s, I went back to school, finished my degree. Wow. But at the same time, I wanted to get out and do more, and let people know that there is more to life than just sitting at home and going blind. This past year, I've had my bucket list. I wanted to do something for a long time. Okay. I wanted to go parasailing. So I actually was able to do that in May.
Wow.
Loved it. I recommend it to anybody. I would have done that all day long. So, and if I can make it to Maui, I have free surf lessons waiting on me.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, I want to get out and experience things, and also let, people who are losing their eyesight know that they don't have to just sit at home. They can live life. Things may have to be adapted a little bit, but they can do almost anything. Mm-hmm. So, and, there's an adventure park that I'm actually getting ready to go to that has the zip line and things of that nature, which I wanted to do. I wanted to do the zip line for a long time. So, I want to do that. So I just want to be an example to people, to let them know, just because you are losing your eyesight and just because you're getting older does not mean life has to stop.
Right.
You can continue to live it, because I am determined to make the rest of my life the best of my life.
Exactly. That's a very positive outlook to have, because you have today and you can control your attitude, and instead of wallowing in negativity, you can move forward with positivity and just be out there and do things. Enjoy yes. Everything that life has to offer. I think that's great. Do you have like a who do you look up to, or who would you like consider a mentor to you? Because you have such this great attitude in doing things. Who do you look up to?
I have some good role models. There's Mark Riccobono, he is now the president of the National Federation of the Blind. He is actually running marathons as well.
Wow.
Mark Morier, and I cannot pronounce his name. I always get it wrong. He was the former president of the National Federation of the Blind. And both of these gentlemen are attorneys. They run marathons. They get out and enjoy life. Mark Riccobono the other day was actually on bumper cars with his son. So, I mean, you can get out and just have a blast with life.
Right.
And for me, I love roller coasters. And so, I actually done a scope of a roller coaster in Myrtle Beach. It's it's a small roller coaster, but it's still fun. You get some hang time in that one. And, I actually scoped that, wow. Done a periscope of that. So that's actually on my YouTube channel. But, Yeah. So actually, you get to go along on the roller coaster with me. So, I love doing things like that. But as far as a lot of role models, Jessica Beecham, who is We Fit Wellness in Colorado Springs, she is actually running marathons and doing some great things in the marathon. So there's a lot of people who run, but unfortunately I can't anymore because I injured my knees in karate, and my left knee in taekwondo, and my right knee in Shaolin. So I decided I would rather walk than
Right.
pursue the martial arts. But you know, you can get out and you can still enjoy life. You can still do karate. You can do the judo. There's a big thing right now in pushing judo for the blind. So I mean, it's the thing. If you want to do it, you can make it happen.
Right.
And I know for me, if there's an obstacle in front of me, and I compare it to a hurdle, because the way a hurdle is designed, underneath of it's empty. So you either have that bar that you can go across the top of it.
Mhm.
And for me, if I couldn't get across the top, I would go under or go around it.
Yeah.
There's always a way around your hurdle. And it may take a little time, it may take a little persistence, and it's going to take a lot of patience. But, for whatever, if you have a disability or not, there's things in life that you're going to run up against that it's going to take some time to get over. But if you do with persistence and patience and perseverance, you're going to make it.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. No, and no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be hurdles and there's always going to be things that you have to overcome. Um,
Right.
and so it's just in how you approach it. And if you just approach it as a challenge and take it for what it is, that rather than let it overcome you, I think you got a great attitude, a great way to approach things. Um, so you do obviously with both knees out, you don't run. But I know that what other sports are you into? I mean, you mentioned zip lining, and you want to do surfing, and obviously cycling. It sounds like you're a super active person and willing to try anything. Are there any other sports or competitions that you're into?
Like I mentioned, I do the disc golf. I've recently got into that in the last few months, and I love that. That's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could probably get addicted to disc golf. And what's crazy too, I could probably get addicted to mini golf. I love miniature golf. you know, uh, I know my daughter, there was one time that we were all playing, it was in Myrtle Beach, and we were playing, and my daughter was with me, and I got a hole in one, and she just like yells out, "Why is the blind woman doing better than we are?" So I love things like that.
Right.
Because I can't get out and play football like I used to, because I love football, but I can't do a lot of that anymore. But I mean, just simple things. Get out and take a walk in nature. I love to hike. I love to get out and do things outside, and I like to fish. I
Great.
can be like this big tomboy or like this girly girl. So I'm good with that. So.
Awesome. Awesome. Let's see here. Uh, are there any accomplishments, either athletic or otherwise, that you're most proud of? Like, what is your most proud accomplishment?
And I apologize. For some reason, my notifications are still coming up, and I've got my do not disturb on, but they're still coming up. And I apologize. I missed
Okay. Okay.
part of that question.
Right. Well, I was just asking about what what accomplishments, either athletic or otherwise, are you most proud of achieving?
My one of my biggest accomplishments, I decided to go back to school back in 2007. There's been some major things go on. In the 90s, I started college, and for a lot of reasons, I wasn't able to finish. And in my late 30s, I decided to go back to college and finish my degree. So I finished that, and I'm very proud of that. I
Great.
as far as graduating high school, I didn't get to do that. I did get my GED and, get it that way. But at the same time, since a kid, I always wanted to wear one of those funny little hats, that's what I always called it, that funny
Right.
little hat.
Right.
So, graduating college and walking across the stage and receiving my diploma, that was a big accomplishment for me.
Great.
That was one of my life's goals is to finish my college education.
Right.
And granted, it's not finished. I've taken some grad classes and due to my father's health and some of my health as well, I'm, not able to complete that right now, but hopefully in the future that I will go back to school and get my master's.
Right. Wow.
But, as far as, I was very proud of, I taught CPR and first aid for a few years. So I really enjoyed that.
Wow.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's great.
Yeah.
Jonathan Perez just chimed in. He just mentioned, have you checked out bicyclingblind.org? They connect blind cyclists with sighted pilots.
No, I did not know about this.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it too. But apparently, I'll look it up here real fast. U.S. Blind Tandem Cycling Connection endeavors to increase the participation of individuals who are visually impaired or blind in the exhilarating sport of tandem cycling.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so that's bicyclingblind.org.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
That sounds great. That's a great resource, it looks like. Where they have testimonials, getting started, stokers, and captains, and yeah, it looks like they also have a Facebook page, it looks like, too. So
okay, awesome.
That'll definitely be something to look into. That's a great resource. Thanks for that, Jonathan.
Yes, thank you.
That. And let's see here. Okay, so you mentioned that you possibly, if you can make your way to Maui, you have some surf lessons for you. But it sounds like you're where are you calling in from? It sounds like you're close to the coast over there on the East Coast there.
I'm not. I'm actually in Tennessee. I'm in Northeast Tennessee.
Oh, okay. So a lot further than I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something that you're really looking forward to? Or are you going to make it a point to make it out there to take those surf lessons?
Oh, that's definitely on my bucket list. If I could afford it, I'd go tomorrow.
Exactly. Nice.
That's one thing that is, on my bucket list. And I know it may not be possible, but I really want to see Maui and Hawaii, not just experience it, because I know that I could go, after I lose all of my eyesight and experience it, but I really would like to see it.
Nice. Nice.
So,
awesome. What other challenges do you come across being visually impaired, just in regular life that, maybe people like myself or other people have no idea that maybe that's a challenge for you? Obviously we think, okay, well, we can't see. That's a challenge right there. But, what are there other challenges that maybe people don't necessarily think about? You mentioned, that sometimes people will notice your cane and then all of a sudden not talk to you as if you're an object or something. Are there other things like that you've come across, and how do you handle those challenges?
Well, I know, and I'm going back to my vacation in Myrtle Beach. I got on the elevator one day and there was a guy on the elevator, and you could just automatically feel the tension just rise. And I just started talking to him. And by the end, by the time he reached his floor, he was laughing, so, I think that just letting people know that, hey, it's okay. I'm a person too. Just because that I have, limited vision doesn't mean that I'm any less of a person. But, that's one of the things that so many people, I think, don't realize that and have that perception of, oh my goodness, got a disability. You know, I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable about, you know, talking to me because I have a disability. You know, I'm what you see is what you get. You know, I'm just a
Right.
country girl from Tennessee. So, you know, I'll talk to a wall for that matter, you know, and you know, I just want people to feel comfortable.
Right.
So,
Right. How uh, I was going to say, you know, I'm trying to think of times where I've come across someone and felt uncomfortable for one reason or another. Um, and I don't, you know, you'll have to take my apology. I don't know if I've come across very many um, people with vision impairment, so I can't call upon that. But, you know, everybody's always had times where they come upon someone and maybe they feel uncomfortable um, for whatever reason. I'm trying to think of a time that's happened to me and try to think of why that is. You know, I guess it's just embarrassment or just not knowing what to say, not wanting the other person to feel bad themselves for what they perceive. You know, I don't know. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just talking and thinking at the same time. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's some other question. Okay, a fun question. Would you rather have ice cream or cake?
oh gosh, ice cream.
Ice cream?
Ice
Awesome.
cream.
I agree. I think ice cream's a lot better than cake.
Yeah.
Jonathan Perez is asking another question. Have you tried gravel riding? Gravel riding is a new big thing all over the place right now. So it's kind of, you know, riding on gravel roads. Have you ridden very much on gravel?
I used to. I have not ridden, you know, a lot on gravel lately. That's one thing about like the Creeper Trail. It is actually an abandoned railroad, so they've turned that into like this big um, tourist attraction and for mountain biking, and that's some of that is gravel.
Okay.
Oh, oh, there's actually I just remember this, and I have not ridden on the Tweetsy Trail, in which that is just an old railroad that they have actually now just turned into biking and walking path. So, and that's in my area, but I have not tried it yet.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Jonathan was mentioning too that fat bikes might have, well, they definitely have more stability, and that might help to be able to ride like gravel trails. So that, and I know that there are, I think they're still kind of more on the custom side of bikes, but you can get a fat bike tandem. I've seen a couple of them now, but I think they're still not as common as regular tandems or even a
right.
mountain bike tandem. But that might be something to look into too. The extra stability would help. Plus, the fatter tires are going to be a lot more comfortable in case your pilot doesn't call out a pothole and you guys run over it.
Yeah, you know, as a kid, and I commented on one of your posts about actually losing part of a toe.
Yes, yes,
You know, that happened when I was a kid, but
right.
you know, it's, you know, accidents happen. I'm definitely not prone. Well, I'm accident prone, but you know, it's, you know, I think I would be clumsy even if I had, you know, 20/20 vision. So
Right. Well, like you said earlier, everyone crashes every once in a while, and you know everyone has little accidents, and sometimes little accidents end up you know injuring you a little more than they should. But that, you know, that's part of it.
mm-hmm.
That's living, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'd rather have a couple of scars or you know part of my toe taken off than to just be sitting in a room and you know protected from everything. I don't think that would be any fun.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
let's see here. Um, okay, kind of off topic from bikes, but
Mm-hmm.
who, in your mind, who are uh, the three, and maybe you don't have three, maybe you have two or just one, But living musicians right now, who are the three greatest?
Oh gosh. Oh Lord, I really don't know. Um, I like all types of music. I
Uh-huh.
really do. Hmm.
What was the last okay, let's change it. What was the last song or album that you listened to?
Oh goodness. I actually just watched a Dolly Parton concert on YouTube.
Great.
So yeah, I tried to get tickets and they were completely sold out. Her last concert is going to be in Pigeon Forge, which is like an hour and a half away from me,
Nice.
and yeah, that they all sold out too quick. Yeah.
No, she's great. You know, I mean, not that I know her, but she's a great entertainer, and she's everything that I've seen of her on interviews and on TV and everything. I mean, she's just a great person. Um, Jonathan Perez has another question for you. What's causing your vision to fade? Is there an actual cause for it?
Yes, there is. It's called retinitis pigmentosa.
Okay.
And what that basically is just deterioration of the retina. And
Oh,
the cones and rods in my eyes also are dying. So that affects the color,
okay.
my color perception. So yeah, that's what's causing my eyesight problems.
Is there anything that you could do to prevent it, or is it's just deteriorating on its own a lot faster than other people, or?
Well, what it is, it's a genetic disease, and what it does is it affects everyone differently.
Uh-huh.
So you can actually be born blind. I've known a few people that have RP that have actually been born blind, and then it can go as late as your 50s and 60s and just automatically develop. So there's just a wide variance of progression that an individual can have, but there's no prevention, there's no cures. There's a lot of new research on, upcoming that even with artificial retinas.
Uh-huh.
However, those are extraordinarily expensive. One of those is about $100,000 per eye.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and those only last expectedly it lasts like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, so it doesn't even last very long.
No, it doesn't.
Wow.
So yeah.
So I mean, I imagine, is the prognosis then eventually, you had mentioned this about your trip to Maui, so eventually you will lose the full eyesight and be completely blind?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's actually over the last few years, it's gotten a lot worse, and even over the last few months, I can tell a big difference, especially in my right eye, that
Mm-hmm.
I actually only have just a few spots that I can actually see out of now. So
Wow.
yeah, so I was teasing yesterday about starting me a GoFundMe account to go to Hawaii.
Well, I don't see why you shouldn't. I mean, other people have done it, so it's and you do have a limited amount of time, so it's not like, okay, because for a lot of people they save up their whole life to go on a trip to Maui or to go on a trip somewhere, um, and all of a sudden, well, time is definitely limited because you do have your whole life, but
Mhm.
you only have this limited amount of time to actually visually see it.
Right, right, yeah, and that's the thing. I will give you this statistic: over 70% of the visually impaired is either unemployed or underemployed. So that's a huge
Mhm.
number of people that could be contribute to the economy, but yet there's so many people who don't want to give a visually impaired person the opportunity to even try to do a job.
Right.
So
Well, that sounds like a huge problem. I mean,
yes.
um, obviously there's lots of things that somebody without vision could do. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that uh, visually impaired person could do. I mean, physically, hands and everything else.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't see what would hold people back from hiring someone. But it sounds like a huge problem to me. I mean, that's definitely not right. What did you say the statistic was? Something like
It's over 70%.
70%.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not right. I don't know what we can do about that, but that's definitely something that should be addressed. If there's people that are willing to work and are able to work, then why don't we employ them?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I know for me, I actually worked at East Tennessee State University for a couple of years. And when they done all their budget cuts, my job got cut. So I've actually not had a good job since then. And that's been several years ago, even with a degree.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've still not been able to find a job and putting in application after application. And after a while, you get tired because it's like, where else do you look? I've
Right.
looked everywhere, put in applications. And that's one thing, I don't know if Jonah had mentioned, I talked about a line of bags
Uh-huh.
to do. And actually, I've thought about that since the 90s when I was in fashion merchandising when I first started college. But I've got this idea of an app design, and
Mm-hmm.
I've actually designed an app, and it's hopefully trying to find a developer. But
Nice.
back a couple months ago, I actually took the idea to a developer. He loved the idea, and the thing about it was he gave me a quote. I thought, okay, that's what I had in mind to begin with. And then a week later, he came back with the prices of being over seven times higher, because
Oh,
he first quoted me a price of 10,000, which that was the price I had in mind.
right.
And then he came back and said it's going to be over $75,000. And it's like, this is a simple app. The majority of the coding's already there,
Right.
so I don't understand why, but he just didn't really want to fool with it. And
Mm,
because where I've not been able to find a job, I have to reinvent myself.
right.
And to try to find a job, it's like, well, if I can't find one, I'm going to have to create one.
Exactly.
So, I've done that, and it kind of took me back a little bit of what he had said. And so I had to take a breather, and due to my mom's illness and my dad's illness, uh, I took some time and thought, this can be done. It has to be able to be done somehow, some way. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually pitched the idea to, it's a program through East Tennessee State University, and it's called Innovation Labs. And they love the idea. They thought that it was doable. And actually, they're going to help me find a developer, which hopefully going to be working with ETSU, because they actually just hired a new chair for the computer science department. So that kind of had some time, had to wait on that. But,
Right.
they seem to like the idea, and hopefully I will be working with them in developing the app. Also, they're going to help me do my funding as well. So, that's a big plus on getting my app developed.
Nice.
And, so I've got some things down the line that, 4 things down the line, actually, that hopefully that once my app takes off, then start on the next project. And then
Awesome.
hopefully the big project is a smart cane, and with some AI technology involved in that. So,
Mhm.
that's gonna be the big project coming up. But that's
Right.
gonna be, at least a couple years or so down the line before that can even really take off. And I know, by then, I don't know if someone else is going to have that idea and have it in production or not. But,
Right.
that's
Right. Well, yeah, you can just move forward with what you know and what you have right now. So,
right.
um, are you allowed to tell us what is the app about, or are you keeping it under wraps for right now?
Well, it's an app that will help blind people and colorblind people.
Okay.
So detect some colors, but there's a couple of features that mine will have that's not on the market at this time.
Okay.
And I've checked hopefully all of them at this point. But
Right.
I'm hoping that, you know, there has to be a way, because I'm always asking why can't this be done?
Right.
So, I think that there has to be a better coding process for these apps and be better quality instead of crashing or getting it wrong all the time. And for color identification,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're blind or have low vision or with the cones and rods, and which messes up the colors detection in your eyes, you can't see color.
Right.
So, and it's like, well, it's like the shirt that I have on now. I have two shirts just alike, and
Mm-hmm.
there are times I can't physically tell what color they are.
Right.
So, I want something that's good quality, that somebody's going to be able to pick up the smartphone and say, hey, what color is this? And
Right.
if they have, some more things in that, hopefully that it will, oh goodness, it will, work well and have some great ideas in it. And also it's going to touch a little on education and educating people who are completely blind and who was born blind, and give them a better idea of pattern and colors.
Wow, that's great. Jonathan Perez asks if you have an Instagram. He'd like to follow you in your adventures.
I do have an Instagram. I have not posted a lot on my Instagram, and I am on Twitter. I'm on Periscope. I do a lot on Periscope. Well, not a lot, but I've done some.
Right, right.
But yeah.
Great, great. Um, let's see here. It's something just came to my head and then it just flew out. Oh, so eventually, so you said the app and then some other things coming up, and then eventually a smart cane. I imagine things would be, with being a smart cane, it would be tied into the app and things would communicate back and forth and that type of thing. Is that
Yes.
right? Or
Yes.
okay, nice.
Yes.
And I do think that you're right. There's got to be, I think if, with the university helping you out, I think they'll be able to get you some good coders that will hopefully help you develop the app without having crashes. And I mean, everything crashes once in a while. You
Right.
can't account for everything, but hopefully make a very stable platform for the app to run on. I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem. I know sometimes, yeah, when you do, like I've used Fiverr to have things developed and stuff, and you kind of get what you pay for when you use that, because
Mm-hmm.
when people go bottom dollar, then they're not always given the best code and all that type of stuff. So
Right.
I do think that in you working with the university, that you'll get good stuff coming out of it. Um, let's see here. What else do you have working on? I mean, you said the app, the smart cane. What else do you have going on?
Well, after I get this app off of the ground and running, eventually I would love to have a foundation which would actually give children who are going blind a trip of a lifetime, a sightseeing adventure.
Oh, nice.
That's what I would love to do, to let them experience something, that they would have on their bucket list to see before they go blind. That's
Right.
kind of like mine for my Hawaii trip. That's,
Right.
I would love to see that, you
Yeah.
know.
No,
So
I think that's a great goal. That's a very great thing to develop if you can get that foundation up and running. I think that's something that would be wonderful to be able to give that gift to other people,
right.
um, and especially for children to be able
Mm-hmm.
to live something before losing their sight. I think is great. Um, we are getting close to the top of the hour. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the people out there?
Just acceptance of someone who has a disability, whether it's someone who's blind, deaf, in a wheelchair, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, we're just people. So, you don't have to be, just embarrassed on what to say. You're afraid to offend someone, and if you have, a question, most likely most people answer a question without any problem. I would rather someone ask me a question than stand and wonder like, oh, what can she do? Just ask me, so I think that just to know that people with disabilities are people, that's just the bottom line. And granted, you will find good and bad in all people. So, and, just treat everyone the same, and I know that's not always possible at times, but, just treat people with common dignity and respect. That's all anybody I think ever wants.
Right. So you're saying that it's not necessarily rude if somebody comes up and sees that you have a cane to just kind of ask you, are you blind? Are you visually impaired? I mean, that's not an offensive question, is it? Is that?
Oh, absolutely not. And if I need help across the street, or if someone says, do you need assistance? I'll welcome that, and if I do, that's fine. If I don't, I will say, thank you. But, just don't go up and grab someone's arm and say, oh, let me help you across the street. And that has happened. And it's like, I'm not going across the street. So
in addition, that would be just kind of scary for somebody to just grab your hand and drag you. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, just it's always polite just to ask, and just don't assume that someone with a disability automatically needs help. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Right.
So,
well, I think better to ask and to not have it be needed than to just take matters into your own hands, grab some woman and drag her across the street. That's terrible.
Yeah, because honestly, you really don't know who has had the martial arts training. So if somebody comes up, my first instinct is to punch. So, it's always nice to ask.
Yeah. You'll be knocked cold on the ground. Yeah. Let that be a lesson to anyone out there. Just don't just go up and grab people. You could get knocked out. It won't be a good thing.
Absolutely. Because there's a lot to my backstory on that too. So, that's maybe another story for another time. But I definitely have like some major things going on in my backstory to who I am now, and that's the things that's happened in my past is just made me stronger for who I am today.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Joy, it's been a pleasure talking to you. You have the right attitude. You're doing a lot of great stuff. I wish you the best. We'll stay connected on Twitter, and I thank you for being on tonight. I love talking to you. I think we had a great interview. I'll let you close off with any last words that you want to say.
Well, I do thank you for giving me an opportunity to hopefully spread the word about people with disabilities are people, and we just want to be treated with dignity and respect just like anyone else. So, but I do thank you for this opportunity.
No problem. And we do appreciate you coming in just about every week. You've been on the show and the comments and listening in. We appreciate that. And I know if Jonah was here, he would greatly thank you also. This has been another episode of Bike Chat. Heading out. If you're watching this on YouTube or on some other channel, please go ahead and give a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe. We will talk to you again later.